Yo and hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Hobby Think Tank. My partner in crime tonight is John Keating from That 70s Card Show. Greetings and salutations, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Cadet Moynihan, everything okay?
Cadet, greetings and
Yeah.
salutations.
Were you not a cadet at one point?
I was a cadet at one point.
Is that what they called you? Or what was your, as a freshman, what did they call you? A scrub?
No, we were, God, what were we?
Worms? Scrubs, grubs, worms,
Zoomies.
larvae, pupae, zoomies. A bunch of weirdos.
Called zoomies.
Sorry about that. I have a never-ending curiosity, so I always ask questions. Are you writing everything down?
You know, believe it or not, I'm getting from this collection that we bought. JT has a bunch of it, and he's texting me pictures, and he just sent me something that I'm like, that's mine. I'm keeping that. Like, and that's going to be our topic tonight. What a great segue into what we're going to talk about tonight, John, because you have been known to purchase large collections of cards to add to the basement in Philadelphia.
Right.
I, through chasing cardboard and now through my buddy Dave, have opportunities. I see lots of cards. I see giant collections. And one of my perks of being on Chasing Cardboard is being able to go, I want that, and kind of first dibs, you know? And there's so much. The question du jour is how to decide what to keep and then what to resell. And I think we're going to have different approaches to this, which is good and kind of the point of the show. First question for you, how long have you kind of been obtaining cards in bulk the way you do a little bit now?
Not too long, right? Maybe a couple years, because I think people tend to sell stuff off. More recently, they're just sick of it for whatever reasons. So probably 3 years, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, probably 3 years.
Okay, cool. Obviously, I've only been doing it for. I haven't had a lot of opportunities to buy big collections in the past. I would just buy cards, kind of the old-fashioned way, one at a time, or buy a full set, or something like that. And through being affiliated with Chasing Cardboard, I see these amazing collections. The one we want, the John's collection, in West Virginia, was so much there that I wanted to keep.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I have to think, well, I can't just spend myself into oblivion.
Right.
You kind of have to pace yourself. And that we use the proceeds from selling cards to fund the show. The show's not cheap to produce, as an example. So how do you decide? Like, let's talk through this. Let's think tank this.
Well, the overwhelming condition I have is to ensure that my collection will grow first and foremost. So I'm not going to buy cards or a large collection unless it enhances my collection tremendously by 5 to 10, even more X. There needs to be a large multiplier there in perceived value. I always say perceived value because I'm not selling the cards. So first, I'm always trying to expand my collection, and I've done that through some of your Chasing Cardboard purchases and some things with Harlan from John's collections. And it's made me I don't want to say better, but it's made me a more expansive collector. Not only am I getting more cards, but I'm getting more different types of cards, which is kind of something I didn't set out to do, to expand the breadth of my collection as far as non-sports and stuff like that. But it's really been fun.
So when you buy stuff, let's say you buy a big collection and it has a lot of cards that you already have in your collection, which I'm sure has happened. Mm-hmm. Do you look to upgrade? Like, okay, I'm going to go through, let's say I know you love 58 Tops and you just finished that set, right?
Yeah, I finished that a little while ago. Yeah, 58, and yeah. But
So
it's
if
hard to
you,
get those collections out there, right? It's hard to get the vintage collections are harder to come by because, rightfully so, they demand more. There's more outlay of cash for stuff like that.
so what kind of collections are you buying?
Well, I buy the most recent one I bought was about 40,000 cards, and there was a few. I knew enough going into it. So first of all, the type of collector I am, right, is important, I guess. I love putting sets together by hand. So I have a lot of sets already. Tell JT he can wait. You'll
He
tuck them
he
in later.
is he is busting me up.
Okay.
Totally busted.
So yeah. So anyway, I like to put sets together by hand. I mean, I have a lot of sets that probably have less than 10% to go, and I'm talking about stuff from the '90s, the early to mid '90s on, and I don't mind needing only 5 more cards for my 2001 set instead of buying a whole set. So I'm always filling gaps, whether it's base sets or some of the other stuff. So there are some larger gaps and some years that I need to fill. So that's what I look for there. The recent collection I said it had, a 78 Peyton, a 78 Roger Staubach, 76 had Too Tall Jones right there on top. So I knew that it wasn't picked through. Somebody could easily have taken those things out and, you know, made a
Sure.
$10 or $20 bill out of them. So there's little signs you look for there. So if I 10x what I paid and perceived return, and then I can start going through stuff that I could sell. A lot of cards sell. A lot of quarter cards sell on eBay for $1.59 because people just can't get the shows or dig through boxes. A lot of people aren't grazers like me. I don't graze in dollar boxes or quarter boxes and stuff like that. I know where to get my meal and move on. I don't need to stick my nose in the grass and look for stuff. So people want to do that. So you look for not all Hall of Famers because you and I know not all Hall of Famers are created equally in this hobby or collected equally. So it's a bit of a little R&D goes into that. You learn a lot via eBay. Pete Rose sells a lot, junk wax. Paul Molitor and Dennis Eckersley won't sell a lot on eBay. So yeah.
Okay. So in the 40,000 card collection that you just purchased recently, how many have you gone through it all? How long does it take you typically?
Yeah, right. So here's my first thing, and it was probably at least 8 monster boxes, maybe more. There was binders, and there's all sorts of things in there. A lot of minor league sets. So first thing I do is uh, sort by sport, right? So I'll sort by sport. And then when I've got the 6 NASCAR cards put aside and the 18 hockey cards off to another side, then I start digging into other things. Like I will automatically go to baseball, default to baseball because that's my first love as far as collecting. So then you go over the sorting table and then you sort by manufacturer. And then you break down each manufacturer by sets and all that stuff. As you know, man, it got crazy in the '90s thanks to people of your age, and there were so many issues. But it takes a while. A couple of weeks ago, I bought the 40,000 card set. I probably have. I have most of the baseball sorted, but now I'm logging in stuff. I went through probably 1,500 minor league cards alone. Figured out what was what, and then Mark Hoyle already has like 30 of them in his collection. So it's stuff like that, and it's fun because I look at it as entertaining. I don't have the pressure of having to make a buck off of it. So the money I make is great because it enables me to. I always pay for my collection via my eBay sales, but I'm also not laying out tens of thousands of dollars. I'm laying out hundreds of dollars.
Right. So have you figured out how many cards in that 40,000 you're going to add to your collection versus how many of them you're going to sell?
Right. Yeah, no, because I still have to figure that. I still have probably 5 monster boxes of basketball and football, and just when you're sorting sports, you see there was dozens of Jordans in there, and Barry Sanders, and all the gang from the '90s and all that stuff. So there's a lot of hope there that I can fill out my collections, my existing collections, because I collect all the sports. NASCAR is not a sport. People sit down with a steering wheel. That's not a sport. So I get rid of the NASCAR cards, but I keep the other, even the guys running around with sticks on ice. I keep that. I collect that, not openly. I won't go seek it out, but if it comes into my collection, I will keep that. But I do draw the line. I do have standards. No NASCAR.
No, that's a low standard. Not a sport.
Yeah. I mean,
golf cards.
Hey, great people, great fandom, but it's not a sport. It's golf cart. Exactly. Right.
Golf is a sport. Agree or disagree? Golf is a sport.
Golf is a skill, man.
So is football and baseball.
Yeah. Well, so what are you going to say? Spreadsheet people that know Excel spreadsheets, they're sports too. Come on, man. It's got to draw a line somewhere.
All right. So anyway,
just because you get into an athletic pose 72 times a day to swing a club doesn't mean you're an athlete. I think they're wonderful at what they do, but you got somebody with you, Mike. You got a Sherpa. How is that a sport? You can't even carry your own damn bag. Yeah.
So
sorry, that hurt your feelings. It touched somebody you didn't want to.
I'm just totally thrown off. Like I don't know where to go now because you've insulted me.
Right. So let's talk about you. You, this is me helping you out here. You've changed. Through Chasing Cardboard, you've done one thing. Now you've branched out into your own, kind of doing your own thing. And first of all, what was the impetus to do that? I know you have some help. I know you have a Sherpa helping you, carrying your bag for you. But what was the impetus for you to do that? Buy the collection, as they say, buy somebody's mom's basement.
Yeah,
which I think is
exactly what I did. Ironically, it seems like a cliche, but it happens to be true in this case. Dave approached me and said, "Hey, I need to do something here." Basically said, "I'm giving you dibs. If you want it, great. Let's make a deal." And we did. He took me around, showed me. We did a FaceTime where I got to see enough where I knew I wanted it, and certainly not all of it. And we agreed on a price. And I went up there and lugged it around. As you're hearing with the pings, because it was me and 4 other guys kind of sorting, basic sort, just like you do. I went, all right, all baseball is going to go with JT. I'm going to take all the football and all the autographs with me because those are going to be sold through another person, through Garrett. And that's what I don't keep. The way I look at it is I bought all the cards. They're all mine, right? I own them all. And I'm choosing to sell a bunch of them. I took a bunch of vintage baseball for sets that I'm working on, and I was able to find I was able to plug a lot of holes in some sets that I'm working on, 59 tops, 66 tops, 72 tops, a bunch of high numbers that I needed, just stuff that I don't want to dig, just like you. I don't want to dig through a dollar box to find them, but if I have a stack of them in front of me, I'll look through them and see which ones I need, So that's not stuff I want to do at a show. It's stuff I want to do in my card room while I'm sitting here just killing time watching the latest boring episode of That 70s Card Show,
Hey, man, you sleep good after watching that. Give me some credit, man.
Like a baby. It is the best cure for insomnia. No, John, your show is great. I absolutely love your show. But we're good friends, guys. We can tease each other. It's okay. Everybody's going to be like, why are you so mean to him? Like, John gives it back tenfold, don't you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, trust me. Yeah, I deserve every insult thrown my way for sure.
Yeah, you hurl it right back. So filling holes is fun. I like doing that. So this was just kind of
real quick. Are these the holes you're filling are ones you had. They're long term. It's a long term plan you have is to do this, that, the other thing, right? So it's not like you don't get distracted easily like me with the collecting. So you have a plan. This is a means to an end.
It is. And Dave wanted the cards to go to me because he knew I would cherish a lot of the items that his dad had collected, which I am. I've discovered things that I didn't even know I wanted to have that I now have,
Right.
and I'm going to keep,
Right.
which is actually kind of the funnest part of it, you know.
Right.
But like goofy stuff like Kellogg sets, and I want to keep all those.
Mm-hmm.
I want those in a binder. I love them. They're my childhood,
Right.
So
Yeah.
being able to do that, and potentially we're a long way from seeing the black on this, but you know, if we make a few bucks, even better. If I get to add a whole bunch of cool stuff and make a few bucks along the way, get these cards in the hands of people that will love them and love the story and want to be a part of that, great. That's kind of that story. It's not something I did, and this was very important to me. If I hadn't lined up JT and Garrett to do all the heavy lifting on the selling, I wouldn't have done it at all.
Right.
I don't. I mean, we're talking about over 1 million cards. I didn't want that many cards. I didn't need that many new cards in my collection.
Are you
So
worried about space? Because I know you
for sure,
recently renovated, but this takes it to a whole nother level, right?
right? Yeah, that's a half of a garage full of cards, literally. And I wasn't. I liked staying married. I want to stay married. That's important to me. So that wasn't even an option. So I had to have a way. Where could I put all this? While JT's going through it, he knows what I like. I've had the stuff for Garrett here. It's 5 to 10% of the total that I'm enjoying going through and kind of taking my time. Garrett's not picking the cards up for a month, so I got plenty of time with him and just seeing what I can see. I mean, for example, there was this card here, and this is where this whole think tank thing comes in because I don't know what to do with this card. This is a 19. God, I can't read for diddly. 77 tops Julius Erving, PSA 8. I don't own any Julius Erving card. I'm not a huge basketball card guy, but I have a few. Dr. J was a huge staple in basketball when I was a kid. He was almost magical and mythical. I don't own any cards of his. I happen to have one. I own one now. And I'm going, do I keep this? Do I sell this? It's a $150 card, give or take.
Right.
That's the debate is, okay, I could keep this perfectly within my right. I own it. It's my card. But that could get me closer to being made whole and into profit or whatever on this collection.
But why would you keep it? Only is it the same reason you would sell it because of the value, or I mean, it seems like you feel no attachment to it other than the fact that, well, this is a 3-figure card. Maybe I should keep it.
Other way around. If it was a $20 card, I would absolutely keep it.
Yeah, right.
The fact that it's a $150 card is making me go, do I really? Maybe I could just get a $20 Julius Erving vintage slab for the collection to have an example of it. Again, if this was much cheaper, it would be a no-brainer for me. Then there's cards like Donruss Elite Series George Brett.
Right.
That's maybe I think it's a $50 to $80 card. I can't remember. I'm keeping that for sure because I'm a baseball guy. The Elite Series were a big, it was hard to pull these back in the day, even though they're numbered to 10,000. And I have the Brett, I have a Bonds, those are 100% staying in my collection. So some decisions are easier than others, which I'm sure you have the same thing where some decisions, no brainer, I'm keeping. And even on the other end, no brainer, I'm selling.
I keep everything that the only thing I sell are duplicates now.
Right.
So it's easy.
And NASCAR.
And I have, exactly. They're with the G.I. Joe cards that I'm selling and the Yu-Gi-Oh ones that end up in collections every now and then that I buy. So, but I have the luxury of space. It's going to be a long time before I fill up my basement. So I don't have to make decisions. That's why that helps me enjoy my collecting and my collection because I don't have to make those hard decisions. If I don't have it, then it stays. If I have 2 of them, then it goes. Unless it's a Yaz card. I keep all my Yaz cards.
As you should. As any good person should. I mean,
yeah. I mean, you know, and that's a slight evolution there, because I didn't set out to have a binder full of Yaz cards, a lot of them duplicates. But when people send you Yaz cards, it's like, you know, at first you're like, oh, what do I do with this? But then you fill up a binder with Yaz cards. If I have 772 in action Yaz cards, then great, it's Yaz. And most people gave those to me. If not, I pulled them out of a collection, whatever. But that's a fun thing too. So yeah, I don't sell my Yaz duplicates. That's the other thing. But, you know, and with collections, man, you never know what's. If you have a card, then you find out that there's variations and all this junk, and all of a sudden you've got 3 of them. You know, because one has a dot, one doesn't have a dot, one has 2 asterisks, one only has 1 asterisk. So it's you know, I'm learning about cards every collection I buy, and you know, expanding the collection at the same time. So, you know, one of the reasons we love this whole thing is because of sports, and one of the things we love about baseball is we're always learning new things about baseball. So would it be fun if we knew everything about it? It probably wouldn't be as fun, right?
Probably not. The joy of the discovery, and there's few feelings in the hobby. There's kind of these elation moments, or a collecting high, so to speak. Walking into a card show, big or small, I kind of have that. What am I going to find here? What's going to be here? Are there any deals? Am I going to get anything I need? And looking at staring down 40,000 cards or 1,000,000 cards or whatever size collection you're buying, it's what's in here. That anticipation, maybe that excitement.
Do you find it difficult? Do you find yourself wanting to rush through that? I have to pump the brakes and say, I don't need to get through this in a weekend or a week or 2 weeks.
I find myself rushing only because I'm excited, and that's probably dangerous. Right.
Yeah.
And
I don't know whether you're the type of person where, you know, the making order out of chaos. Some people have that gene. That's me. I'm a order out of chaos person. So that's part of it as well. Get everything in place and where it needs to go.
You can't see behind me, but my room is as messy as it's ever been. I keep pulling in boxes, and I keep not putting boxes back, and it's driving me just batshit crazy.
Well, at least it's your room, right? That's sometimes for some people that's their dining room, or that's their family room, or, you know, at least it's your room. You can shut the door. I don't know what happened to Norman's chair. That's a little disheartening, but at least you can put it away and not, you know. I have a rule, and maybe you do as well, although I know every now and then the cards creep out of your room, but I try to not leave any cards anywhere in the house other than my basement. Now, I will bring cards up to sort through and log, because here's another aspect of it, is I log everything into Beckett OPG, everything that I buy. So that's the other part of it. Sort, go to Beckett OPG, see what I need, put it in there, and then throw it into the old collection. But I do that because I want to spend time with my wife while she's watching TV in the family room. So I'll go to the kitchen table. But one of my rules is the table. 99% of the time, the table is clean by the time we go to bed, and everything's downstairs again.
Yeah, that rule totally exists in my house. Julie has told me, no, you get this whole room. If it can't fit in the room, you don't need it, you know? And
I mean, it's a respect thing, right? Because if we
Sure.
take enough time away from our loved ones, we take enough time getting that enjoyment from cards. So, yeah.
And the sorting is fun.
Other than the Cal Ripken cards, you can leave the Cal Ripken cards out, right?
Yeah, she has her mirror is like got Cal Ripken's all around it. She puts her makeup on to Cal Ripken. He's watching her with those baby blues.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good choice. Go ahead.
No, I've got nothing to say. Nothing.
Other than a funny quip or something.
Probably, and 99% of them stay in my head.
So when people are out there, if you're out there and you first of all, it's really cool to buy collections. I think people can find good value. I think they can add to their collection, maybe discover some things like you and I have through the years that we didn't even know we liked, that, whoa, I wouldn't have ever even been interested in this had I not bought this collection. I'm telling you from Chasing Cardboard experience, it's thrilling to do that.
Right.
So go on Facebook, go on Craigslist, go where there's plenty of false leads, so to speak,
Yes.
plenty of junk out there that none of us want to deal with, but the hunt is fun. The going and making a deal is fun. And I would encourage collectors to do that for sure. Would you, with your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you kind of put a caveat in there, because most of the ads you'll see in Facebook Marketplace are either people trying to overstate what they know is crap or junk, or people thinking they have more than they have. Every now and then you'll find, a lot of people have good intentions, many
Sure.
baseball cards, worth $9,000, and it's just 91 Donruss. So it takes a keen eye. You can kind of tell, like I said, that last collection, when you see Staubach and Peyton 70s cards, like, you know that it's not all crap. And you just have to be careful, and you have to negotiate, of course. And you have to understand you're not going to 10x every card you buy, for crying out loud. There's a lot of cards that aren't even worth pennies in those collections you buy. Then you got to figure out how to get rid of that stuff. I lost Mike. Mike's internet is horrible because he spent all his money on buying other people's moms.
Am I back?
You're back now. Yeah. That was very unnerving. That was a lot of forehead on the screen, man. You might be FCC might be writing you a little fine for that. So, but I was just saying, you just got to be careful, right? Don't buy everything, because there's a lot of junk out there.
Yeah, I have a
Craigslist, all that stuff. So
interesting, funny horror story. Maybe not that funny, but there was a lady that contacted my wife because she knew that her husband, me, collected cards, and said, "Oh, we got all these cards donated to us because we're raising money for a charitable endeavor, and we're going to sell these cards. We were told they were worth all this money, and it was all 91 Fleer and whatever."
Yeah.
And I had to break it to the lady. Yeah, you don't have a whole lot of value there. I'm really sorry, and I'm for sure not interested in buying them. But it was, that happens a lot out there, and so
that's a normal. Yeah.
You have to sift through that. You have to sift through that and just be. But I would encourage people to try. You may find that you hate it, that you'd rather just buy the cards one at a time, the old-fashioned way. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, my next dilemma is I have 100,000 cards and I'm getting ready to sell in bulk. Right, I have a stack, mostly stuff I've had for decades. But anyway, it's time to move that, because you can't pretend that I'm going to make team sets anymore out of 5,000 Cardinals in a large post office box, send it to somebody. Can't pretend anymore. So I have to sell all that stuff. So you also have to eventually say goodbye to the stuff you don't want, and that's what I'm doing now, as well.
Yep, I'm enjoying the process of debating. Do I keep it or do I sell it? It's funny. I'm finding again that the stuff that has little value, I'm more inclined to keep, which sounds backwards maybe.
Right.
But it's almost like it's not even worth selling. I'd rather just keep it. If I'm going to make $3 on it, I'll just keep it. But
I got a couple 100,000 cards, and most of them are worth a penny or less. Right.
Right.
So
here's,
and I'm happy with it.
This was in the basement collection. So I was going through 79 Tops, and I put all these in penny sleeves, but these are all Reggie Jacksons.
They all have the same numbers on the back. Do you know why?
No, why?
They might be Burger Kings. So just double check that. You always have to check
all
the
number
79.
700. They're all number 700.
Okay. because you'll find the exact same cards in 80, I believe, had Burger King logos, but 79 might not have. So if they're lower number cards, ones, 10s, or 20s, they might be BK cards for the Yankees at least. Look at it, Johnny Bench.
Here's all 79 Johnny Benches, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. They'll sell, dude. They'll sell for $2 a pop if they're in good shape,
right.
you know, whatever. So
they are in good shape, and I don't need 22 of them. That's for darn sure, right?
So you look at it, you know, if you look at it that you bought those cards, I don't, you know, I'm not going to tell, I don't know how many cards there are. I kind of know what you paid, but that's none of my business. Like if you divide cards by what you paid or what you paid by cards, you probably come to, you know, less than a penny you bought for each card. Right. So then you just look at that. You sell a Johnny Bench for $2 and clear $1 after all the fees and all that stuff. You won 100x 10 cards or whatever. That's the way you have to look at it. You're not going to do that with every card. Most cards you're not going to be able to sell, but that stuff right there will help you get back to the black, as they say.
Yeah, and if I didn't own a 79 Johnny Bench or Reggie Jackson, I could go through, pick the best one that I want to keep, and sell the others. Right? I mean, that's kind of the. Cool
I do that. You're right. Yeah, you alluded to that earlier. I do that. I go through I did that with a 69 Phillies rookie card. There was one in the collection I just got that was better than the one in my set. So that was I popped it in and took out the old one. So, you know, there's all sorts of upgrading and adding to the collection at the same time.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we got for you. Hopefully we made you think a little bit this week on Hobby Think Tank. John, as always, it's fun doing episodes with you. Maybe we should just kick the other two guys out of the show rotation, and it's just you and me every week.
Well, it's good to be back on this channel because we were over on the baseball collector channel. It got a little hairy last week. So
and you were live. You were on the wrong channel and live.
No idea what we were doing. That was completely my fault, and there was all sorts of issues, and you know, crazy busy, and I just started hitting buttons. And look where we ended up. So it was fun. For those that were in the chat last week, please understand that Mike and I couldn't see the comments for some reason. They stopped at a certain point, but boy, what a lively chat and what a bunch of knowledgeable people there were in that. So that's appreciated. I know Mike from Maine appreciates it as well. So it's fun to be background noise while hobbyists do their thing. And that's what was happening last week. Mike and I were the ambient noise to collectors in the chat debating things, which was freaking awesome. That's the way it should be.
Well, thank you, my friend.
So if you need elevator music, we're your guys right here at Hobby Think Tank, as they say in Jamaica.
Well, we'll see you guys next week, whoever's on, and have a good one. Take care.